Welcome back, everybody, to the Speakeasy podcast. My name is Victor.
Yes, sir.
This is Joey.
My name is Joey. Yes,
Yo,
sir.
yo.
Hello.
And we're back after a successful a new venture on the channel, should we say?
True.
We did our first reaction. Go check it out if you haven't. And after that, it's time to resume the regular show, as we say. So
it is indeed.
We will be going straight into the album, but first, Cheerios, my good sirs.
Cheerios, yep.
I'm a hacking gin tonic. Yes, it's so refreshing on a hot day.
It is. It is actually. Yep. That's why I'm having mine on the rocks. My single malt on the rocks.
That's always good. That's actually surprising to me how much the taste differs when you put it on the rocks. It's good. Okay.
For sure. Yes.
With that, we now venture into the distant past, because this week's album...
It's a very old one.
It's a very old album. It is from 1969.
It is indeed.
It is none other than Led Zeppelin II. A classic album. One of the genre-defining rock albums.
Yeah, so I've heard. No.
And for me, this was not a first listen.
For me, this was definitely a first listen.
I respect that. It is if you don't have an entry to it, like a person that leads you onto it, you don't rarely come across music this old naturally, so to speak.
True. That's actually true. Yeah.
So.
Before we start though,
let's
do this at the beginning of the video for once.
All right.
People, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, man. We love it. We love you guys. Y'all been great. We're almost at 200 now, and we were at like 100, like what, a week, 2 weeks ago?
Something like that.
Keep it going. It's insane. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into it.
Yes, let's. And we start off with a heavy hitter.
Yes.
We start off with a track most people probably have heard, Whole Lotta Love.
Yep, exactly. And if you haven't heard the song, you've probably heard the riff somewhere.
Yes. It's such an iconic riff.
It's actually really insane. It starts off with such a bang, man.
Yes, it's the funny thing is, when I re-listened to this album, we should mention, or at least I did, I listened to the remastered edition, so it is probably not exactly as it was in 1969. We didn't listen to it on vinyl and all that stuff, but what struck me is how detailed the soundscape is. There's no doubt that these instruments were played and not electronically made, or like not a slight against electronically made sounds. They have their purpose. They serve their cause. But what a delightful guitar riff to start off.
It's actually
album.
Crazy.
Yes.
The one thing that first few listens kind of put me off was the break in the middle with the psychedelic-ish part.
Yeah.
That it went on a bit too long at first for me. So I was like, I feel it, but I don't really feel it.
I can see that.
But then the fucking whole ass great guitar solo comes in afterwards. Good lord.
That solo is iconic. It's obviously played by the legendary Jimmy Page. Yes, iconic legendary guitarist. Probably top 10 in most people's guitarists of all time. I agree with you. I think this is the most accessible track almost on the whole thing, barring maybe one or two other that come close to it. But it is for sure. Even this track is, I don't want to say an acquired taste, but there are some parts where you go, okay, this is weird.
Exactly.
What a switch. Okay, but
it is. Yeah.
We should say this though. It's a short album. It's only 9 tracks, so.
Yes, exactly.
But the tracks themselves are pretty long. They have
they're pretty substantial.
There's some 6-7 minute tracks in there. We then move on to what is and what should never be.
Beautiful.
Wonderful track.
I love this song.
Yeah,
man.
It's good.
It's just, but it's just what I feel like these artists, like all 4 of them, they're so talented at what they do. It doesn't matter. I feel like any kind of genre switch they do on the album is just perfect.
Yeah.
It's really insane. And this is more like it starts off with like a mellowish acoustic guitar.
Yes, yes.
Before and then it transitioned into like almost blues.
Yes, for
like
sure.
Like a heavy kind of blues.
Yep.
I mean, as well as Robert Plant's voice. We didn't touch upon it the first song, but Jesus, man. What a voice.
He obviously famous for his somewhat high-pitched voice, but it is unbelievable how well he uses that as a full instrument. It's not just he's not a one-trick pony. He can make it screech. He can make it very melodic, and he can almost go down low, and it sounds all distorted. He's very good at it. But yeah, beautiful track. It's also you're completely right, because you in some bands, there's like the front man, and that's like if you're Maroon 5, Adam Levine is the front guy, and then there's the backing crews, so to some extent, right? But here, everybody has their place. Everybody gets their time in the spotlight. You have the bass that fills a lot of the empty spaces with a lot of cool riffs, cool bass lines. You have the drums that take over in certain places, and in one track has a full drum solo out of nowhere. It just comes at you. And that's very cool that they're experimenting in that sense. It's not, at this point, obviously rock music is still in its early stages, or like the electric rock at least is like in its early stages. So you get a lot of experimenting, you get a lot of weird stuff, but it works out really well, especially in tracks like this. And you're right, it's just a beautiful track.
Yeah. And then as well as the guitar and the bass guitar throughout this whole song is just fucking crazy good.
Yes.
I really love it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, you go first. You go.
Oh, yeah. No, I was gonna ask you, what did you get out of the song, out of the meaning of the song?
I think, and I'm gonna say this for the entire album, it's really hard to pinpoint one theme, because it's so psychedelic that it could literally be anything and everything. The most obvious reason for, like, a theme for me is it's love in some sense, right? It's
yes.
At one point you loved the relationship, everything it gave to you, but now you're in pain, and now it should probably have never been, in that sense.
Yeah. For this song, what I kind of felt was like breaking free from things holding you back, could also live a life worth living. The next song is funny though, but if you have a little bit more to say about it, the meaning of this song.
No, I'm good. We then come to, as you say, a very funny song. The Lemon Song.
What a title, man. It's funny.
A 6-minute long track. And it starts off, it has somewhat of a carries over, and it starts off with the Jimmy Page going, "I should have quit you a long time ago." This is a very... The thing about Led Zeppelin in general is they compose these beautiful tracks, so well crafted. It's a whole universe. There's flutes in some points, and there's all sorts of organs and whatnot. And then you get tracks like this where you just go, there's so many genre changes and instrumental breaks, and you go, this is they must have had they must have had a lot of fun making this. But it also does work. I feel it actually is somewhat of a coherent track, even though there are so many switches.
I really like it, actually. Like, it's very fast paced, like the energy,
Yes.
like the whole groove of the song is really sick. I like what I think it means is like he's thinking with his dick.
Basically. I would imagine so.
She's squeezing his lemon very well.
Yes, but he also says, "Squeeze me, baby, till the juice runs down my leg."
Yes,
and that's a bit too much. That's too much, Robert.
TMI.
Robert, you didn't have to go like that. It's a funny because this track in general has some of the most like intense instrumentals, like you say, but the verses are kind of, it's almost in some sense like some of the Beatle tracks where you go, "I am the walrus," and then you go,
"What are you on?
The Lemon Song." What? Okay, well, it is what it is.
Sure.
But I think you're right.
You lemons.
Yes, exactly. I think you're right. It's about his lust and how he, But yes, I will ask you this though. The very last part with the bridge and the instrumental part, did you enjoy that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool, right? That's a good song.
Yes. Yeah, that was great.
That's the great part. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
We then move into Thank You a complete change of pace.
Beautiful song.
Yes, this
But
is
a
also
nice heartfelt ballad.
yes, and
it's really fucking nice.
Very, very popular song, have been used in different stuff. We should note that Led Zeppelin have been notoriously very difficult to acquire tracks from if you wanted to use it for commercials or for TV shows and such.
I see.
So most of the time, they've actually not licensed a lot of their tracks for it.
Yeah.
But Thank You is one of them, I think, that have been used, and it is immensely beautiful. A completely different style, much more lower pace, much more acoustic sounding.
This was really stands out to me in the whole album.
Yeah, I agree.
It is such a tonal shift as well as just a complete like, also more of a tone switch in the way of like. The other ones are more, how do you call it? Like,
I don't know.
Give me a second. My brain is freezing. But how this one is very much like a gratitude of love and stuff like that.
Yes.
Well, as the other ones are a bit more. I cannot think of the fucking words.
No, but you're right though. Like in some sense, this is the more soft side, the more I want to say fragile side, like vulnerable side, because even Jimmy Page is playing an acoustic guitar here. Like it's an acoustic guitar solo, and it's cool that they can do this as well. And the lyrics are beautiful, like little drops of rain, whisper of the pain, tears of love's lost in the days gone by. It's like, wow, holy! You come from the Lemon song where everybody's just like just squeeze them, and they go, okay, but they also got this one in the bag apparently.
If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still it's very, very beautiful. It's also. In general, I will say it's funny to see that there's like I think only one or two tracks that adheres to the 3-minute rule that was in place for most singles.
Yes,
and that's not a thing here. It's literally just okay. If you want to do a 7-minute,
love ballad. Who's stopping you? Yeah,
go right ahead.
Exactly. Yep.
Then we come to Heartbreaker. Another iconic riff. Another Jimmy Page special.
So much energy, man. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, the guitar riff is fucking insane.
Yes.
It's actually nuts.
I feel for me, it's always been... I love Led Zeppelin. I might as well just put out there. I love Led Zeppelin. I understand why they are iconic. I understand why people... put them in such high regard, and I think the thing that sets them apart is it's the work between Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, the way they interact with each other, like the guitar and his voice, because in some senses they are very similar, and he has such a unique voice that he can match it up against the guitar, and it works so well when he screeches and he fills it out and stuff.
I can see that.
It's just so good. But once again, very cool track. Much better storytelling in this one. Much deeper, verses, I will say.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, I like it. Heartbreaker, very hard, the harder track, but what a track.
Track. Also, the drum break is really
very
nice.
Cool. Yes,
really
I agree.
Really nice. Yeah.
Not much else to say. I think in general, a lot of this is considered like a standalone tracks. It's not like an album where there's a theme all the way through.
Storyline,
No, it's just whatever fit. With that move to Living Loving Maid, brackets, she's just a woman.
I really like this song actually.
This is
really nice and upbeat.
Very quirky song.
It is actually.
Yeah, I agree. It's a completely different tone. Much more happy, much more like you say upbeat.
Yeah. It's just I feel like it's really catchy, especially the hook. It's like it's really catchy. Yeah. And I mean, again, the whole vibe that the whole band just brings when they just come together, it's just really fucking insane.
The crazy thing is, it's a 2 minute and 40 second track.
Yeah, it's pretty short in comparison to the rest.
Yes, but it doesn't feel that way when we listen to it. Whereas,
no, that's true.
And that's the same thing with like Heartbreaker. It's a 5-minute track, but you don't get the feeling because there's so much going on. The track evolves so much as you listen to it. That it kind of it just feels like a track. It doesn't feel like you've been listening just for ages.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot to say. It's just great tracks. We'll move on then.
I feel like it's with almost all of the songs. It's just obviously there isn't too much story going on. I feel like there's themes to a song, but that's like not obviously it's not like a conscious hip hop song where you just have 5 minutes of complete like double entendres and meanings and stuff like that. This is kind of straightforward, but just letting all the artists just shine in the way they can.
And also, we could probably spend hours analyzing what they meant with each track, but I'm gonna be honest and say it's hard to get a grasp on the mentality because back then drugs were much more common, and they've probably been on some stuff when they did it. They had all sorts of. I know that most bands back then had somewhat of an occult way to it. Like they had but superstitious kind of looking at stuff. So unless it's something obvious, like I will say, like for instance, now we come to track 7, Ramble On. It's beautiful lyrics, very beautiful lyrics, and it's it on the superficial level is pretty easy. It's time to ramble on. It's time to go on. You gotta get up, carry on, right? But at the same time, there could be 1,000 meanings behind those words, and we would never catch them.
True,
I guess.
Yeah, true.
What did you think of Ramble On?
I actually really liked it. I mean, I think what I got really is the lyrics. From what I've read as well, is that they are drawn from Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings.
They were very heavy. Yeah, that could be. I'm not exactly sure. Yes, in Led Zeppelin in general were very inspired by
which is really cool. I love the acoustic, which then gets followed up by a very nice and heavy like electric guitar.
Yes,
that's really nice. I just really like it. It's almost folk kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I agree. I think the thing about imagine it this way. Obviously, Led Zeppelin is a British band, from the UK. And so their influences are not like they can draw from a lot of influences because they weren't as locked in as in the US, where blues had already that was their sort of entryway into it. And you had Robert Johnson, and you had all the black musicians using blues as a way of letting people know how they like how the life was for them, right?
Society is
but here in the UK, obviously, it's much more progressive, and you have bands like the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones, and so it's very cool. And you are completely right, though. I just read up on it. Yeah, they even mentioned Mordor and Gollum and stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, and I agree. It's very cool that they have all sorts of influences, and obviously, Robert Plant went on to win a Grammy for bluegrass, I believe, so which is very close to folk in some sense. So very, very cool. And once again, his voice really stands out in this track. It does.
It actually does.
Very cool. It must have been such a blessing at that time to have a voice of that like unique like quality.
True.
Because
you kind of needed it back then.
Yes, exactly. It was much more needed, and you could instantly tell. Like you instantly know when it's Robert Plant because it's just so unique. And I feel the same with what's he called from what's he called? Now I forget. Other rock band, Mick Jagger, where you have the same sort of
yes,
we have the same quality, right? You just instantly know it's him with the twangy to it. So I think that must have been so cool. But this is almost on some level opera-like in the way he uses his voice, very up there, very theatrical, and that's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
Then we come to Moby Dick.
Moby Dick. Great.
I mean,
I didn't pick the song there, man. Yeah. I feel like this song just really just beats down, like literally on the drums.
It's
like
an instrumental. It's an instrumental. There's no music. But what a fucking drum solo. God
it's
damn.
Really insane, actually. It's fucking crazy.
John Bonham, obviously.
Yeah.
A legendary drummer. Was known for breaking multiple sets of drumsticks every time they played because he was bang on them so hard.
Fair enough. I mean, if I had a drum, I would bang that shit too.
For sure. Once again, though, also an insane guitar work, guitar solo, riff, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, just everything. It's just
wonderful. It is very cool.
Really insane, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's also very cool that they just we just made like wonderful music with Rubber Plant. Let's let him sit out for a while.
Yeah,
you would never see that. You don't ever see like oh, you see Arctic Monkeys.
You don't get to sing on this song.
Yeah, exactly right. Like just make an instrumental. It doesn't happen really.
No. True.
Also, apparently, when they performed this live, they would stretch it out, and it would last more than 10 minutes, and they would just all do all sorts of
fair enough,
like jam around.
I would too.
It's cool, very cool. Okay, now then we move on to the final track, the home stretch. Bring it on home.
Exactly. Another bluesy-ish track.
And but what a switch up. I remember distinctly the first time I listened to this album. My dad put it on. That was on vinyl actually. He had it on vinyl, and I loved every track until then. I just remember going, "Well, this is such a." It feels almost like a universe. Like you can, it's sort of a musical universe you can dive into, and and then you put on this last track, and it's so slow in the beginning, but it's so cool. It's almost like a movie scene, a western. Yeah, exactly. It's like a cowboy scene almost.
Fireside, motherfuckers.
Yeah, almost right. Almost. You have the harmonica, like and then comes in halfway about in the most insane guitar riff. I love that guitar riff.
It's really insane.
It's unbelievable. And once again, whereas in the first verses, Robert Plant is all the way down, doing all sorts of stuff. Then all of a sudden he gets to belt out, screeching and just firing it off. It's so cool. And then in the end, they just close it down again. They just go, Choo, and then it goes back, dude. It's so, like, wow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it literally ends the album on such a high note. Like, it's really insane.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yeah,
amazing track. I also think it's kind of cool that they literally called it "Bring It On Home" as if they knew this is going to be the album closer. This going to be the closer, man. We're going to let's get in
close it out on this one. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that is the album.
Yeah,
it is
a little short one.
It's a short album.
It's a little short one. Yeah. Which sometimes makes our job a little bit easier researching and stuff.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I also think this is one of the few albums where I have like rock playlists and
yes,
and I have a lot of these tracks on there, I will say, but it's not the most. I mean, maybe "Whole Lotta Love" is their most iconic track almost, but it's obviously not. I guess their most famous track is "Stairway to Heaven."
Yes, everyone knows "Stairway to Heaven."
Everybody knows "Stairway to Heaven." Have been named most iconic guitar solo. Most iconic build-up track with all the flutes and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is a completely different version. So now having you come into this with the like completely blank slate.
Yeah, I don't listen to rock music, so this is fun to do.
Was this a surprise for you, or did it match up with your expectations?
Ooh. I think it did kind of match up with my expectations. It exceeded it a little bit because it's a really good album.
Yes.
But it's just I can definitely see why this is such a timeless classic.
Yeah.
As an album. I loved how they blended multiple styles constantly, really. But it's the most important thing to me is like how clearly all four of them are such in peak
100% agree.
form on their respective things.
Yes.
That you can have a rock song today, but you know if it's up to par with this, if like either of the things are like matching up or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. The fact that they, and I think this it still exists some places, but the fact that they have attained at this point, this is the second album, obviously. Led Zeppelin II. Let's not. And at this point, they're probably already famous, but that they still allow themselves to experiment. And like you say, we have a complete instrumental track where there's no singing, and they just let Robert Plant sit this one out, and everybody else gets to enjoy themselves. And it is really cool because, like you say, if I name you 10 of the most popular bands right now, I'm not sure you would be able to pinpoint what the drummer does exactly, or what the bass player does.
Yeah.
But here they have a very distinct role, and they become a profile in the band in another way, which also I think in if I look at it more as a holistic band thing, makes it much easier to maintain the balance in the band. It's not like a rock band where you maybe the front guy wants to go solo because he's the star, or the other guys get sick of being the backup group. So So
exactly.
In that sense, it's very cool. And like you say, the fact that they blend all sorts of different styles.
Seemingly, it's really insane. Yeah.
And I will say, as an anecdote, obviously they have not they're one of the few rock bands from this era that haven't reformed, despite them for a long time having all four members still there.
Yeah,
and they didn't. And there was 2 concerts. They finally did I think 2 concerts like reunion, and I think it was the O2 if I'm correct. And I tried my damnedest to get tickets, but they were selling for exorbitant amounts.
Probably, I guess so. Yeah.
And I was kind of sad because I would have loved to experience like
how much would those tickets go for? Like at least a few hundred, right?
More, I think more. I think I'm gonna Google this not to make sure, but I think it was above 1K for tickets resale.
Jesus.
That's
nuts. That's a madness.
Now, while I figure that out, why don't you give me a nice Fantano rating?
Okay, so as I am not the biggest rock fan, and this is purely enjoyment, so don't kill me in the comments below, please. It's still a good number, so calm down. I am going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Oh, that's way higher than I expected. That's
yeah.
Okay.
I can very much appreciate the art, and I mean, I did definitely enjoy listening to this album a lot. Will it grow on me even more if I listen to it more? Probably. Like the same thing. I never really listened to The Weeknd, and The Weeknd, I think right now, because we listen to House of Balloons, I think House of Balloons is now my number 1 on Spotify Wrapped.
Yes. Excellent.
So anything can happen, but yes, for me it's gonna be an 8 out of 10. What about you?
That's very nice. Just as a note, I think Led Zeppelin and the bands from this era are mostly, I mean, I listen to them from time to time, but they're not in my constant rotation. But it is extremely nice to have that sense of knowledge of where the music came from, because most of the music that we listen to today have roots in that era, and even R&B has roots in the soul, funk, and even blues music. So getting acquainted with that music is always a good thing, in my opinion. With that said, for me, this is a 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, and that's
okay, Mr. Rock.
I know.
Aficionado. Okay.
I'm probably the one that's gonna be. It's because for me, if a 10 out of 10 is an album I can listen to everywhere all the time. Like for instance, let's take the Arctic Monkeys, like AM. We reviewed that one. it is for me like it's such a great. There's tracks for everything in there. Whereas this is a much more niche mood for me when I want to listen to that sort of rock music.
Fair enough. Yep.
But within that niche, it's as good as it gets. And Jimmy Page's guitar work on here is so fucking good. I mean, I would love to be able to. The thing that blows my mind the most about this sort of music is how you come up with those riffs, because
it's actually nuts. Yeah.
One thing is rhyming words, and you can like go, you passively attain words in your vocabulary, and then you can use them to rhyme and to put into perspective. But I think musically, this if you have this sort of talent, you're born with it to some extent. Like I've studied music in high school. I could not. You could not. You could give me 1,000 years, I would probably not make a riff of this quality, right? And that's so cool. And then when you combine it with Robert Plant's voice, it's as good as it gets.
Beautiful. It's actual madness. Yeah, it's insane.
So now, the top 3 tracks.
The most important part of the podcast.
I will say
top 3.
It is kind of, it's the third of the album, so you kind of get,
True, actually, on this one it is.
Yeah. Okay.
True. How about you go first on this one?
All right. So for me, this was actually harder than most other albums because I feel like the quality is so good.
Yeah.
But I ended up going with number 3. Thank You. Beautiful track.
It is.
And highlights what Led Zeppelin can also do when they're not being hard rock gurus.
Yeah.
Number 2, Bring It On Home. I love that track. It's just
I know you.
It's so good. But number 1 could not be anything but a Whole Lot of Love. That track is iconic.
Okay.
Iconic for me. I love Whole Lot of Love.
It is.
That
now
riff is
It is actually really insane.
How about you?
Okay. I am again, we are completely different, which is great. My number 3 is Ramble On.
Makes sense. That was the one I debated putting in.
It's your honorable. Yeah. It's a great track, man. It's just really good.
Yep.
Number 2 for me is Thank You.
Yes.
Like just echoing your point. It's just such a beautiful song with it just contrasts the whole album really perfectly. Agree. Which is really nice.
Agree.
But number 1 for me is What Is and What Never Should Be.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I really like it. I like the message kind of behind it, of just putting your best foot forward and not letting yourself get hold back and live a life worth living. But I just that's number 1 for me.
That makes sense. I actually thought you would squeeze Bring It On Home in there because of the same Fireside vibe.
Yeah. I debated on it, but I was like, nah. Yeah.
It makes sense though. What Is and What Should Never Be is a wonderful track. And I think I will say the only track that wasn't in my in the discussion of like at least some relevance was Living Loving Maid for me. It's a beautiful track. It's just for me. It's not the
that song grew on me the most, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But other than that, all the other ones have unique qualities. Even the Lemon Song, which is kind of a very fun track.
Lemon Song. Yes.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yep.
Put it down below. Do you like us reviewing these older records, bringing a different vibe to the podcast? Yep. Is there any classics we should?
Tough luck.
Yeah. Is there any classics we should be reviewing that we haven't done yet?
Exactly.
Also, what is your favorite Led Zeppelin track? Put it below. Is it the classic, the Titanic, the monstrous Stairway to Heaven? Or is it the Lemon Song maybe? Or some other?
It might well be. Yep.
All right.
Now,
well, with that,
I think it's on to the last call.
Cheerio, Scotus. All right, people. I'm still there. Here we go.
Not you, mate. Welcome to the last call, where we ask ourselves some of the more vulnerable, deep, sometimes funny, sometimes ridiculous questions. But first, we take one of you guys' comments because we love them and we want to shout you guys out. So, Zach Hits on TikTok said, and my heartstrings got strung on this one.
Oh, here we go.
Bro, You guys are the goats.
Aw.
Sometimes I'm sad, and then I come check out the daily songs because obviously it was about the 30-day, 30 goated songs. Which stay tuned. Some of the even better will come.
We're cooking,
but anyway, he says it helps my day. Keep going. Heart. Mr. Zackets, thank you, man.
That's so nice.
Much
Comments like that make our day. That is exactly what we want to do. Cheer you guys up.
Exactly.
Give you some nice content to make you feel a bit better. So
exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Now with that, Mr. Joey.
Yeah. What you got for me?
For this time, I came up with the last call question because I'm sick of always being in your thingy, right?
Okay.
Caught in your crosshold. So I'm going in with a hard-hitting question, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Should we ban AI-generated raps? Outright ban it. Because I see a lot of people being like, it should be banned completely.
I know. Yeah, we had a little conversation about this on one of the after hours. But,
yes.
Ooh, outright ban it. No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
No.
Like, obviously, this started way back because we've had the AI-generated images. We've had the projections, whatever you want to say it.
The chat GPT.
Now the chat GPT.
Essays,
everything. And it's getting wilder and wilder. And since we talked about it, because the reason I'm asking you this is because we just did the reaction to Doomsday, right?
Doomsday by Juice WRLD. Yeah.
And we literally we asked ourselves, because we were that much, and that was the first time I actually just didn't go, it can't be. That was the first time it was actually for me like a real possibility that they
True.
Did it
does. Okay, I do. That's interesting because I do think it can kind of, if a song actually already got made beforehand, like this one did, it can get pulled into question now because AI has gotten so big.
Exactly.
They're just fucking farming Juice WRLD clouds with AI.
Let him rest in peace. All that stuff.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
That I definitely do not agree with. Like, don't start doing that. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now the whole Drake situation, I am kind of more on the AI side in the way of like, bruh, you had a perfect little
you're gonna get
boost
it
in
going.
Popularity. Like, you could have taken this and ran with it and like did something with it that would have boosted your marketing and all of that so much higher. Yeah. And he made a big fucking hissy fit over it, which I mean, come on, man. You have billions already. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we talked about that. But it's just it was crazy to me how fast it translated directly into it, because it's like a month since we talked about it, and since then so many people, like DJ Khaled is apparently doing some stuff. Timbaland is doing some Aaliyah stuff stuff.
No. I heard. You know what I heard?
No?
Not Busta. Timbaland wants to, has never worked with Biggie and wants to AI Biggie.
True, I saw that. Yeah.
That's outrageous. That is outrageous. Don't do that.
That's a time you go. No. You're doing too much. Doing too much.
Don't do that, man.
No, I agree. I just thought it was crazy because it's so ingrained now. You can fake someone's likeness. You can put your head.
Yes.
Like we saw in the video, right? You could put your head on someone else and it looks realistic enough to fool someone. Yeah. And you could.
Yes, it does.
If you have just a snippet of their voice, you can remake it and make them say all sorts of weird stuff.
AI is getting out of hand, man.
Yeah, I guess. So with that, let me follow up with this then. If you could, let's say remake or redo an album with a rapper, like you could take, because right now we're using, like, let's say we don't know, but let's say Doomsday, for instance, they're taking old vocals, and we don't know if Corday redid his verse or not, but they're obviously polishing it up and whatnot. And like we just listened to Led Zeppelin, they remastered all sorts of stuff. Is there an album where you go, I like this album, but it could use a remake, like a re-up for 2023?
Oh, man. Yes, actually.
Oh, was fast.
Been listening. Because I've been listening to Denzel again a lot lately. Denzel Curry.
Yes.
And I have fallen in love with Imperial.
Oh, Imperial, interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And I think the production is okay, but it's a little rough. And I think if Denzel redid that, did an Imperial now, I think that would be fucking sick.
I can make that sense.
So that's my pick.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's my pick. But still, Imperial is still fucking amazing.
I mean, that's obviously his origin story. Like that's his come up.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's a good choice. Good choice.
Yep. What about you?
I actually thought about this on both what would I like to hear personally, but also what would work in where we're in the world, right? And I think actually gangster rap could make a comeback. So I would actually go for something like if you could redo maybe some of the G Unit records, like maybe 50 Cent even. You do Get Rich or Die Trying again.
Oh, but do you though? Because I feel like that sound won't probably get any better because it's already so peak.
But on one hand, I agree with you. But on the other hand, imagine if you could boost it a bit even more. You could make the production sound a bit tastier and all that stuff. I don't know. I just think it would be a fun idea. And I would look at it.
Oh, for sure.
I would look at it like this. Dr. Dre is still around. Eminem is still around. Those two produced the album. Yeah. Give them another go in the kitchen. See what they cook up. Reheat.
Another Chronic or another 201 or 2001.
Yeah. Could be like some of that.
Forget about Dre. Is such a classic though. That doesn't need any changing.
But you could say the same about Imperial though, right?
True. I guess.
But it's a fun thought experiment because there are some others.
It is though.
There was one other one that I actually thought would be almost no debate, and that's Kendrick's Section 80. Because it's that would be pretty cool.
I listened to that lately for the first time.
Yeah, it's a banger project.
A young Kendrick.
Yes, it is.
Hungry ass Kendrick.
Yes, but imagine if you could polish the production a bit more, because it is a bit of an underground sort of vibe to it, right?
It is.
So if you could polish it, maybe it would lose some of its character. I'm not sure, but it does sound a bit dated now, production wise, and so you could streamline it a bit more.
Okay, I'll have one final question then which kind of counteracts that point. Counteracts that question is. Don't you think that albums like that, like an Imperial, like a Section 80, give the artist more character in the way they've grown?
Oh, 100%. But I think there's a difference, and I think some albums are completely okay by being anchored to a certain time period. Like Get Rich or Die Trying. It's
Yes.
Whereas you could take To Pimp a Butterfly, that would work in every area, in every age, every era, But I think
it would still be very revolutionary in whatever era they dropped.
But I think what's different is if you listen to Imperial and Section 80, like you say, it's the craftsmanship that went into the beats and the production. There's obviously way more money when you've made it. Like when you are the Kendrick, you have more money. So I think it would be fun to see if they could not make it even better with some more time in the kitchen for that.
That's true. That is very true. Yep. So
interesting.
I think, very interesting. Let us know down below if there's an album you want redone, or if you think it could be improved by nowadays technology or your favorite artists' abilities nowadays. And let us know. Yeah. Let us know down in the comments below. Also, like I said in the beginning of the fucking episode, click the subscribe button, man. We fucking appreciate it. It's been giving us a lot of rushing in the hot. Very nice. But don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, where we post daily. Like I said, we're going to be bringing something new out soon, which will be going on for a long time. So we will be around for a long time. So stick with us. Grow this little community of music, not just hip hop. Anyone, come join.
Yes.
We will be reviewing all sorts of shit from now on. So that's going to be fun. But with that being said, don't walk out on us. Walk out with us to the after hours, where we will be talking about whatever the fuck we please. So look forward to that. Anyway, people, see you there.
Bye-bye, people.